just smoked one. He's right down here in the hollow.
This is definitely a hunt that I'll never forget. The 2017 late season sure was a fun one. After I finished my finals, I headed down to southern Iowa because this year I was determined to harvest a nice buck on public ground during the late season.
It's December 21st. We're in the late season here in Iowa. We got the date on, then tomorrow, and after tomorrow, we're gonna go back for Christmas and come back down here on the 26th. So we still got plenty of days left on. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully we see deer.
So the very first day I hunted, the weather was relatively warm, so I wasn't really expecting to see much, but was I shocked when I said the first deer I saw was a nice buck. This buck was 250 yards out, standing on the edge of this cut cornfield, but for some reason he did not want to come out into the cut cornfield. He continued to feed on something that was on the edge of that field, and he basically just ended up turning around and going back down into the woods. So December 22nd, I decided to go hunt another secluded cut cornfield, and I didn't see anything. But I was very excited because my dad actually harvested the buck that we called Big Boy, and I couldn't wait to go see him in person. After 200 trail cam pics, 2 encounters with him, I was super excited for my dad to harvest the buck that we called Big Boy. Now this wasn't on public land, however it's a great story, and if the video's not up now, it's going to be up very soon. So make sure to go watch that video too. So after celebrating Christmas, we headed back down to southern Iowa, and this time it was even better because there was snow on the ground and there was a negative 10-degree wind chill. So this cold weather was going to get some deer on their feet, hopefully.
Here we go, we're back from Christmas. It is December 27th here in Iowa. We're in the late season. I still have a tag to field. We're hunting on a cut cornfield right now. It is 5 below right now. Extremely cold. I'm so thankful that Santa brought me some really warm clothes for Christmas this year, so we've got about a week left of hunting before school starts, and we're gonna give it a good 3 days here. Hopefully something comes out. All I know is it's fun to be back out. You can't beat hunting in the snow. You never know. You're not gonna shoot anything sitting inside or by the fireplace, so we'll see what happens.
So on December 27th, I went back to the cut cornfield that I hunted about a week ago, and I only saw a few does. Now here's the interesting part. Those does didn't even bother with the cut corn. They went directly to where that buck was the week prior and started feeding exactly where he was feeding the week before. Now I knew something was over there that I had to figure out what it was. So the very next day, I went over there to see what they were feeding on, and it was clear. They were hammering locust pods.
Well, it's December 28th. It's 10 degrees right now with a wind chill of about -5, and we're holding off here till about 2:15 to head in, and I'm doing my pre-log video right now because the snow could get on the camera, and I don't want to be messing with that unless there's a shot. What we're doing today is we're going in on the edge of a timber where there's a bunch of locust pods, and it seems like the deer have been hitting those more than any of the cut beans and cut corn that's around it. But this type of weather really gets deer on their feet, so hopefully something shows itself.
Well, we just smoked one. He's right down here in the hollow. Put a good shot on him and dropped right there. He's about 70 yards away. We were sitting right here in this tree, just on the ground, and looked up about 3:45, and 2 bucks were down here. And they looked like they were feeding on some locust pods. I guess that's what they do when it gets this cold and they don't have anything else to eat.
Well, the good news is I got the shot on camera, but the bad news is the camera kept dying during the recovery, so we improvised and took some videos the next day. This buck might not have been the biggest, but between the -10-degree wind chill, the lack of food, and public land pressure, I was thrilled to put my tag around this Iowa whitetail. And this is definitely a hunt that I'll never forget, because my goal was to harvest a nice buck on public land during the late season, and that's exactly what I did. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're going to take anything away from this video, it would definitely be that in the late season, you want to adjust to the food source these deer are hitting. If these deer aren't hitting the food source that you're hunting, either run trail cameras to figure out what they are hitting, or don't be afraid to go try something new. Because if you want to be successful in the late season, you got to be hunting what they're eating. And for my example, after watching the bucks, I was initially hunting cut corn because that's what I thought, maybe these deer would be hitting. And they were when it was warmer. But when it got colder, those deer started to move to the edge of that cut cornfield, and I knew that they were hitting something new, so I wasn't afraid to go see what it was. And while I'm not big on hunting in the timber during the late season, it was clear that these deer were hitting locust pods, and the very next day, these deer were out there 2 hours before dark. 2 bucks came out 2 hours before dark. So not being afraid to adjust to the food source is something that really contributed to my success in the late season. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you can be updated when new videos are uploaded. And go check out our social media accounts, Instagram and Facebook, to stay updated on daily content. Also, go check out our website, www.extremeelementoutdoors.com, to stay up to date on blogs and videos that are surrounded by shed hunting, whitetail, and turkeys. You're not going to want to miss out on some of this stuff. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.